Hello and welcome to the Fen Den. I'm your host, Sean Allen Fenn, and my goal is to win your hearts and to change your minds. How to break through the walls of limitation. Prince Hamlet is depressed. He's summoned home to Denmark from school in Germany to attend his father's funeral, and he's shocked to find his mother Gertrude already remarried to his uncle Claudius, the dead king's brother. And to Hamlet, it is foul incest. This is Shakespeare. And one of the most amazing things about Shakespeare is the depth of human, of the capacity of human behavior to be acted out on stage in such depth and such richness. There is a lesson here, though, that I want to talk about today on the Fen Den with your host, Sean Allen Fenn, where my goal is to win your hearts and change your minds. As if I could change your mind, but I'm going to give it a try anyway. There is something that has been on my heart that I want to discuss with you guys. And that is being double-minded. Double-mindedness. It is something that, I'll be honest with you, I am confessing to you that I don't want to be double-minded. And in self-examining myself, it's important to, especially when you're becoming your ideal self, it's important to be honest with yourself. Because a double-minded person gets nothing. And it is the reason for failure. But failure is not a bad thing. I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about, in this episode, what lessons can be gleaned from Hamlet with regards to not being double-minded, with regards to being honest with yourself and honest with people around you. And an incredible thing happens when you acknowledge your mistakes and your flaws. Okay, and this is a really powerful thing. It's one thing to change your mind constantly because you're wishy-washy. That's not good. But it's another thing to change your mind when you realize you're wrong and you need to pivot. And those are two different things. So how can you tell the difference? Well, listen. You can usually tell a difference when by what happens or what doesn't happen in a person's life, okay? Now, my personal philosophy is that I don't think it's a good idea to just hope for the best and just not have an end goal in mind. And I know some people have the idea that they should that life is a journey and that they don't know what's going to happen. And of course you don't know what's going to happen. You're not Nostradamus. But it's a mistake to waver and to not have a clearly defined outcome. And here's the ironic thing, and I want to make this clear, okay? you have to have a clearly defined outcome. However, you're right, life is a journey. Okay? And it's in that journey to accomplish your desired outcome that you might fail. You might fail in that. But without it, you're going to lack focus and you're going to lack direction. And I guarantee you, you're not going to be rich. Okay, another thing is another thing that I'm confessing to you guys is that I am afraid that I've been too focused on putting too much emphasis on making money and getting rich and this and that, And now there's nothing wrong with having money. 100%. I'd rather have money than not have money. Okay, money can't buy you happiness, but it also can't buy you a lack of money can't buy you a sandwich, and lack of money can't buy you happiness either. Anyway, that's not the focal point of this episode yet, right now. But the reason I bring that up is because I discovered in self-searching through meditation and prayer. I mean, you guys know I'm a spiritual person if you've been following the Fenden for a while, if you guys know me. And by the way, I do believe in God. I am a Jewish believer in Yeshua, Jesus. And so I'll just leave that out there and let you guys run with that. But listen, a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways and will receive nothing. Okay? So don't expect to be blessed or be rich or receive blessings or get what you want if you don't know what you want. Now, this is probably like one of the things that I am like is really kind of the underline, the bottom line of my message is you need to know what you really want. Ask yourself, what do I really want? Because most people don't know. And most people couldn't tell you if you asked them what they really want. Now, I know that's a generalization, but go ahead and ask somebody today, what do you really want? Really want? And I'm curious to see what they say. So this is about breaking through the walls of limitation. And the limitations are entirely self-imposed. Okay? Now, as far as like the circumstances of the world that we're born into, like, of course, I'm not talking about things that you can't control. I'm talking about the reactions and decisions and the thought process that you make and your state of mind. Your mentality is everything. And sometimes you can't see things up close. You can't see what's really going on up close. And here's another thing that I'm going to talk about, that it's a lesson from Hamlet. In fact, let me get into this. But before I do, I mentioned that failure is not a bad thing. And I've actually kind of, I'm pivoted to what, let's just say I have a deeper revelation of something. And that is that if you do have a desired outcome, that you're going to look towards the future and you're going to clearly, specifically define what the desired outcome is that you want. And from that point, you reverse engineer it. And you look at the steps that you need to take to get there. One of the steps, like for example, is if you want to be wealthy, if you want to be rich, if you want to be a millionaire, it's not going to happen if you work hourly. Or let me put it this way, an hourly job alone, 100% will not make you rich. 100% guarantee. If you're relying on your hourly job, you are automatically ruling yourself out. You're automatically canceled out because you can't scale hourly. You cannot scale that. It's impossible to trade money for dollars and expect any sort of like financial freedom. With the exception before you get mad at me if you disagree, with the exception of like working your side hustle. And it just, you can't, if you talk about being realistic and you think that you can get rich by having a day job, how? I just want to know, how are you supposed to do that when you can't scale time? Like no matter what, there's only so many hours and there's only so much like hours that you can stay awake and actually get things done. And there's only so many hours available. You cannot ever get time back. Time, at least in the context of time on earth for you and me, for our existence, that this time that we're given is finite. Okay? You cannot get that back. And if you're going to trade your hours for dollars, and you're going to put you're going to say that 1 hour of your time that you can never get back is only worth $20, I feel sorry for you, dude. Because 66% of Americans make less than $20 per hour. And 34 million live above the poverty line but can't pay their bills. What's wrong? Like, all of these people can't be stupid. I know for a fact all of these people are not stupid. There's more good people. I like to believe that there's more good people and more smart people than there are stupid people. I really do. Sure, it's all perspective, okay? Everything's perspective. But listen, what's wrong? What's going on? There's something deeper. There's something else going on. More than 40% of American households can't afford the basics. This is a report that just came out today. And you have to ask this news agency called Axios, if you want to Google it. But the fact is that you have probably been lied to if you think you can have financial freedom and work an hourly job. At least alone, especially if that's your only stream of income. Now, there's nothing. One more time, don't get upset if you're disagreeing with me, because, of course, like you're still going to have to do it. I get that, right? Still going to have to trade your hours for dollars. Everyone does at certain points of their life, but for the love of God, you can't stay there. Any chance you you can to break out of that cycle. That's what this episode is about. Breaking free of your limits. Break through the walls of limitation. Okay? And your limitations they're probably not the same limitations that I have. Okay? So, maybe this doesn't relate to you, maybe it does. I don't know. But let's look at really the deep down roots of the problem, because 34 million people live above the poverty line, but still they can't pay their bills. And it has to be because all of those people, all of us, you and I, if you come from a middle class family like I do, we've all been lied to. My parents are getting to their retirement age, and I think they were under the impression that Social Security was going to cover them in their retirement life, and that was a load of crap. The thing is, like, if there's a big problem as big as this, there's got to be like there's got to be something hidden that you don't know that's causing it. And it's probably misinformation, and it's probably being deceived by the way you think it is. Okay? I love the word reality when people saying be realistic, because there is no one version of realistic. Because the fact is that 34 million people in the middle class but can't pay their bills, they have all been being realistic this whole time. And look what happened to them. People have been told, go get a job, and that's realistic. That's the realistic thing to do. Yet, why do 66% of Americans make less than $20 per hour? Okay. So let's dive in a little bit and figure this out. Neither a borrower nor a lender be, for loan oft loses both itself and friend, and borrowing dulls the edge of husbandry. Is that a Bible quote or is that Shakespeare? I should make that a contest. But I'll just tell you it's Shakespeare. This is from Hamlet. Now Hamlet is an example of a person who is double-minded. A double-minded person changes their mind constantly. Like they can't make a decision and stick with it. They lack focus. They're coincidentally, they're not good with money. And I'm bringing this up because I want to be better with money. Okay, so I'm telling you this because your weakness and my weakness is your strength. Your weakness is your strength. How? What do you mean? Yeah, I know I'm changing my tune a little bit, but seek out failure. Fail hard and fail fast. Why? Because you'll get to know yourself really quick. You'll get to know what you're made of really quick. And your weakness will become your strength. Because when you embrace your weakness, when you face it, you sure as hell, if you're able to conquer it, and the first step to conquering it is to acknowledge it and confront it head on. You don't need to spend a lot of time like going after all of your weaknesses and trying to be perfect, which, by the way, that's another fun topic, because perfect is another word that isn't really anything. But just really quick, the next time I hear someone say I'm not perfect and use it as an excuse, I'm gonna bite my lip. I won't say anything, but I'll be thinking something, and it won't be highly favorable. I'll just put it that way. Okay. So anyway, your weakness is your strength, because when you acknowledge your weakness, it can become a strength, because someone is going through what you went through, and someone will need your help. And you can become a master of your weaknesses. I'm not saying don't waste time like looking for all your weak points and like trying to, I don't know, you have to like focus on what helps you accomplish your desired outcome. And for me, my desired outcome is financial freedom. Okay? And this is one of the critical issues that needs to be taken care of. Like, someone who I consider a mentor tells me, Sean, whatever you were going to do the opposite. I'm like, what do you mean? I didn't understand. But it's because I think he sees like an area where like something, I just suck. And he's like, whatever you're trying to do, you suck at it. Do the opposite of that. And I didn't get it. Okay? But here I'm telling you, I'm going to do the opposite. And your failures, you fail hard, fail fast, because that is a gift. And you should be happy and grateful when you fail. Okay, this is something you need to flip in your mind. Flip failure into something you're grateful for. Why? Because it shows you who you are. It shows you if you get easily frustrated. It shows you how resilient you are. And listen, you don't go to the gym. I don't go to the gym, but if I did, I wouldn't expect to lift weights or I don't know, do whatever you guys do at the gym and feel no resistance. You have to feel that resistance. You have to get uncomfortable. People want safety, security. They want to feel comfortable. That's human nature. Our brains automatically, our amygdala is the part of our brain that automatically like wants to keep us safe so that we can stay alive. But on a survival level, sure, you're alive, but where's your reward? No risk, no reward. Okay? So Hamlet is someone who had some issues. Dude has some issues, right? For example, let's go into 9 Things. Okay, the play. I don't know. My listeners are pretty smart and pretty well read, but if you haven't read Shakespeare lately, Shakespeare, dude, that guy was a genius. Did he write all those plays himself? I don't know. But chances are he probably kind of borrowed them from pre-existing plays. Anyway, but listen, the the issue that Hamlet had is something that I think you and I should be careful that we don't fall into this trap. And it's possible that everyone can do this, because everyone can fall into this trap of wanting to seek revenge. But then, okay, not the fact that you want to seek revenge, that's not really the problem here. Okay? Revenge is a motivator. It's the inability to take revenge that was that was Hamlet's problem. Isn't that interesting? Because he procrastinated. It's a play about tormented conscience, about procrastination, about someone who has a failure of commitment. You know what? Here's rule number 1. Make a decision and stick with it. Make a decision. Don't waver. Stick with it. See it through. Okay? As soon as you get wishy-washy, you're done. You're toast. You're going to get nothing. Okay? Hamlet is a true picture of the world in its inverted form. Okay, here's 9 takeaways from Hamlet. Is number 1, the world is a prison. The book I'm writing is kind of about this too. It's called The Freedom Within the Power of Choice. You can sign up in advance on my website, seanallenfenn.com/book. Okay, enough with the plug. The world is a prison. And this is interesting because this is all how you look at it, right? It is a prison in that we have limitations that are put on us. But depending on how you look at it, it's for a reason. And it all comes down to how you choose to perceive the world, how you choose to see your place in the world, and what you're going to do if you were in prison. Would you be grabbing your ankles because you're somebody's bitch, or would you be in the cafeteria selling smokes? Think about that. Number 2, to thine own self be true. What do you think that's about? When you hear someone say, to thine own self be true, without a hint of irony, that person is talking out of ignorance. Because that was a line from Polonius, and it was heavily laden with irony. That line, to thine own self be true, is self-serving drivel. You hear me? To thine own self be true. You got to be true to yourself. Okay. When we're talking in idiom, it can take different turns depending on how you choose to interpret these words. I really think you have to know yourself, but when there's a difference between knowing yourself, knowing your limitations, knowing what you're capable of, knowing your strengths, knowing your weaknesses, just knowing who you are. It's best if it's from the intention of service to others, of serving others. I know who I am. I want to know what my value proposition is. Raise my value so I can make your life easier, make your life better. But if I'm saying to thine own self be true, and I'm saying F you world, I don't need you, I don't need anybody, good luck. Okay, you guys know what I mean. Number 3, in Act 2, in the second scene, of Act 2 in Hamlet. Childhood friends of Hamlet were summoned by Claudius to distract him and spy on him. Because Claudius wanted to know why Hamlet was acting like a madman. So, never trust your friends. You don't always know what they're up to. And some people are sent into your life as a distraction from your purpose. This is a really deep, profound lesson here. Your childhood friends, your bros, your homies, your buddies, ladies, your girlfriends who you grew up with. There's a reason why people drift apart. And sometimes your homies are distractions. Be careful who you listen to, especially the people around you. Think about it. If they are around you and they're so much like you, then I would take advice from a person who has not, for example, if you're taking money advice from someone who has not achieved financial freedom, well, don't take it from me either. Just make sure that you're listening to ideas that disagree with yours just as much as those that agree. Okay, that's all I'm saying is if you remember that people speak out of their own understanding, and whenever you're meeting someone and you're walking into their life, you're walking into a chapter that you may not have read the beginning, and you certainly didn't read the end of the book. And so you're just seeing a chapter in their life. And of course, we usually have the best intentions for people. But for example, it reminds me of someone who I heard that his mother. This is an entrepreneur who has done very well in online businesses since the internet, just before the internet became like a known thing, right when it was coming up in the 90s. And this is an entrepreneur who, had he listened to his mom, who was a teacher, she advised him to go get a real job and not play around with this internet thing. It's only a trend. And if he had listened to her about that and took in her advice, he would not have become who he is. But if you keep in context the advice you're getting and who you're getting it from, for example, take advice from your mom about how to love someone, how to be a nurturer. Take advice on how to unclog a sink from a plumber. You know what? But if you, and I'm not saying don't take any advice from me. Like, I don't care if you listen to me or not. I mean, actually I do, because I would love for you to keep listening and go ahead and subscribe and follow. But I'm saying that out of humility. Like, I don't freaking know. I am so far away from having all the answers. There's like no chance that I will have it all figured out in like, not this week. But if you take your advice from a financial advisor there's something called agency cost bias that Warren Buffett talks about, where, let's say, like someone like your financial advisor is paid by their company to sell you their services and telling you to live below your means and save. And I just had a conversation with someone who's in a financial advisor, who's asking him about his business, and he never talked about like how to increase income. I asked him, like, I'm really interested in knowing how to increase my income. And he had no idea. He just knew how to hold back. So all I'm saying is, like, pharmaceutical industry, for example. I think you'd agree that the pharmaceutical industry in the United States is a little out of control because they're more likely to sell you their pills than actually solve the problem. Right? So I'm just saying, like, follow the money. Does that make sense? Follow the money. Like, see where it's coming from. All right. Let's get back to this. I don't want to go off on a tangent too much on this episode of The Fenden. By the way, thank you for listening. Okay, where was I? Oh, yeah. This scene in Hamlet. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern came to Hamlet under false pretenses. You don't know what people are up to. You don't always know what's going on behind the scenes in their minds. Which leads me to number 4, where Hamlet says, "Mother, you have my father much offended." Because Hamlet judged his mom for getting married to his uncle. And, in some traditions, that's actually a thing that people do. In the Jewish tradition, historically, if a brother dies without having kids, then the wife marries the brother to have kids. And if they don't have kids and that husband dies, then she can marry the next brother. It's tradition, it's a thing. But to Hamlet, though, in this story, he's offended. He thinks he's offended by what he thinks his mother's motives are. This is what drives this play, like his presumptuousness. Because you don't know what's in a person's heart. Just like I said, when you walk into someone's life, you don't know what chapter you're walking in on. You don't know what's in the other chapters and what's in the future chapters and what's in the past chapters that informed where they are now. Because nothing happens in a vacuum. Okay? Nothing happens at random. There's no such thing as coincidence. You never know. Just like Hamlet didn't know what his mother truly wants. Do you even know what you want? Much less what someone else really wants? I mean, that's kind of the game in commerce, is that you have to know what your customer wants, but half the time you don't even know what you want. How can you expect the customer to know what he or she wants? Number 5, there are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreamt of in your philosophy. Okay, let me put it this way. You have no idea what's really happening. Just like my example of more than 40% of American households can't afford basic things. And all of those people, why? All of those people are not stupid. 34 million people can't pay their bills. 66% of Americans make less than $20 an hour. They're not stupid, but there's something else going on they don't know about. They didn't get the right information. They were lied to. They fell into the system. See, there's a system. Everything is systems. Some systems are put in place for different motives and different agendas. And you have to be on the right side of the system. And if you're not, you might not even realize it until it's too late. Number 6. I did love you once, I loved you not, says Hamlet, because he has commitment problems. While Ophelia is just ever faithful and naive. I've been there. I've had commitment problems before. But I remember a time where just I didn't know what commitment was. I didn't even know the meaning of the word. But even in love and it doesn't stop there. Even in love and relationships, it doesn't stop there. It continues. It bleeds over into commerce. Because number 7, tender yourself more dearly, says Polonius to Ophelia. Let me tell you something. You're going to be treated as a commodity unless you do something to not be treated like a commodity. Okay? If you have like a job where you're replaceable, you're a commodity. If you have a job that they can just lay you off and hire someone else, you're a commodity. All right? I know it's tough. And I know we all have to do it sometimes anyway. But, man, once you know that, you can never unknow it. Once you realize that you are in danger of being a commodity, commoditization of your life, time is so precious, people. You can't get it back. I don't know about you, but I don't want to be a commodity. Not in love, not in commerce, not in anything. I'm not saying I'm a special little snowflake, because I'm not. Like, dude, the market will tell you if you suck. But it's all upside, right? You know what? Because I'm taking you with me, and we're always learning something new, and we're getting better every day, and that's the important thing. Number 8, oh shame, where is thy blush? Hamlet accuses his mother of acting shamelessly. When everyone acts shamelessly, everyone does the same freaking things. Okay? I do this and you do this. We accuse people of being a certain way when we're doing the same thing, or we don't have the information. We're usually not running on all the information. There's a lot of gaps that are left out. Whatever you think is going on with someone, there's a lot of information that's being left out. It's called a black swan. If you read Chris Voss's book, Never Split the Difference. The black swan is the key to negotiating. The key to really knowing unearthing what's really happening. Man, that takes some skill, and there's ways to do it. By the way, I'm going to be doing a workshop on May 23rd at Soho Places. Please get in touch with me to reserve your space for that. It's going to be really cool. I'm going to be talking about the 25 cognitive biases that, if you leverage them, you will be you will cut through to the black swan in people's minds. Like, people don't know what they want, but you can leverage these 25 cognitive biases. There are a lot more, but these were the ones that were pinpointed by Charlie Munger. And I'm going to show you how to use that information to be a more effective communicator. If you do marketing, if you have a business and you're doing advertising, or if you're doing selling, or if you're just anything in life, just talking to people, negotiating. So please get in touch with me, and I'll give you some information. I've been posting. I'll post. There's a link right now on my Instagram for it, at Sean Ellen Fenn, and you can find me. I'm right here, dude. I am here for you. By the way, I'm so glad I can do this for you. I make time every week because something I committed to, number one, to really not show you, or not try to make you think that I'm something that I'm not. It's more just to be vulnerable and show you, tell you what I'm learning, how to how to have the future that I want, and hopefully you want something good for yourself too. It's different for everybody, but that's what this is about. That's my why. In conclusion, the last one, number 9, this line in Hamlet: "Stay illusion," meaning here's something that is really powerful about the power of imagination. I believe that nothing on us, nothing we've been given, is a mistake or an accident or superfluous. I'm not a doctor, but I'm not sure what the appendix is for, but I can tell you that there were cases of people removing gallbladders. Just everyone had, the doctors were convinced that gallbladders needed to always be removed. Follow the money. That's why I still haven't had my wisdom teeth taken out, because I'm suspicious that it is a marketing ploy of the dental industry to tell you that you have to get your wisdom teeth taken out just so you can keep coming back to the dentist. And so I still have my wisdom teeth. Fortunately, I have a big mouth, plenty of room. My wisdom teeth are fine. As far as wisdom, I don't know. I'm working on it. But just to finish a thought that I had at the beginning, I wanted to clarify an error. I'm pivoting towards something. Okay, you guys know that if you've been following for a while, I went through Grant Cardone's thing and the 10X thing and this and that, and I'm not knocking it, absolutely not knocking it. So don't think I am, but focus on not money but wisdom. The Bible says in the book of James, if anyone lacks wisdom, to ask God for it, and it will be freely given to you. And so that's what I want to leave you with. And that is going to dovetail into my philosophy of imagination. Imagination without wisdom is foolishness. Ooh, that was good. I just thought about that. I just kind of made that up right now, but I think it rings true, doesn't it? Imagination without wisdom is foolishness. Illusion is the only means to action. harnessing, like controlling your imagination is the only way that you can create a future. Oh, one more thing before I let you go. I started a Patreon thing for the Fendend podcast. If anything I said resonated with you, if you want to go ahead and show your appreciation, go to patreon.com/Fenden. That's patreon.com/FENNDEN. Really appreciate it. All right. Thanks for being amazing. Catch you next time.